All right, now that we have the main core of our body rigged, we're going to start focusing on the leg and the foot setup. So this is going to be quite a bit different. So far, everything that we've been doing is in an FK format. So FK stands for forward kinematics. It means the parent joint rotates, the child, and so on down the line. So basically exactly what you see here. This control rotates and it moves everything down its chain. Then the mid control rotates, it controls everything down its line, and so on and so forth. So, but what we're going to be doing with the foot and the leg is we're going to be setting up a an IK system. So IK stands for inverse kinematics. So basically, instead of the hip rotating the knee and the knee rotating the ankle, it's going to go backwards. And this functionality is what's going to allow our feet to stay on the ground when our character is walking. So if we kept it as FK and we were moving our character down, it becomes really, really hard to say, oh, this is my down, and then I'd have to rotate up this foot here, and then if I wanted to bend it, I'd have to do that, and then I'd have to raise that up, and if this changed, so you can see how much of a nightmare something like that becomes when you're trying to animate. So we want to make it really easy to plant our feet because that's really common. Feet stay on the ground for the most part. So we're going to set up this inverse kinematics, this IK, and we're going to use our IK tool, which is right here. So this will create an IK handle, and it will, if I click on it, I'll just show you really quick. It's expecting 3 joints to work between. So we click on the first joint, which is our hip, and then you select our bottom joint, which is the ankle, and it's going to create this IK handle. So let me close up these. We can see that. So it's just called IK handle, but you can see what it does when I grab it. I can now move, and that moves all 3 joints so that they're rotating appropriately to match the position that we are placing the handle at. Okay, and then it is generally separate from our rig so that when we're moving, it will stay planted on the ground. So right now, it's not doing. So we have to set up a lot of that. So I'm going to delete that for now. We're going to start making a lot of the controls that we need to get this going. So we're going to go to our curves. We're going to create, just like we always do, a circle. And I think I might add just a couple more sections, so 10 to this, and then I'll click F8. And now I am going to scale this out, make it a little wider, maybe a little wider. There we go. So about like that. That's fine for right now. And this is going to be our left leg control. So we'll call it L underscore leg underscore C. And then we're going to take that and we're going to group it, Control G, and we will name it our left leg control GRP. So it's our group. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that group and we're going to snap it to our ankle. Like that. We're close to that. There we go. Snap it to the ankle. Okay, now our foot control is kind of back here, so we're going to select the control again, go to F8, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down X, and I'm going to snap this to the ground plane, and then I'm going to move it forward. I'm doing all of this because the pivot of the actual object is going to remain up at the ankle, and that is what we want. So I am just going to do this, and I am going to just shape this a little bit. So I'm going to take this and pull it up out of the back so it's a little easier to grab. And then I'm going to take this and bring that in and make it kind of look like a foot a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe we'll bring that a little wider there and bring this part in. But yeah, there you have it. So kind of looks like a foot. That's good enough. And it's set right here, which is exactly what we want. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is there's a couple parts to this. We are going to be setting up several IK handles, and we're going to be setting up what's called a reverse foot. So the IK handle is going to control everything here, and then there's a way that we can have it so that everything works in opposition to the normal joint hierarchy. So first we are going to go back to our rigging shelf, and we're going to select our IK handle. You can see the tool settings here. It's a rotate plane solver. That is what we want, not a single chain. A single chain is just expecting one joint, and we need more than that. We want the rotate plane. The default should already be set with that, and we're just going to select our hip to our ankle, and that creates it here. And we are going to call this our left IK, so LIK underscore ankle. You can call it ankle or leg. Either of those are fine. Now we're also going to set up a couple more of these IKs. So we're going to go back to our IK tool, and we're going to create an IK that goes from the ankle to the ball. Okay, and we're going to call that our left IK ball. And then we're going to go back to our tool, and we're going to create one more. Then that's going to go from the ball to the toe. All right. And even though that toe never had any influence on it, we kept it around for this purpose. So now we're going to name this our left IK toe. All right, so we have all of these, and you can see if I grab that handle, it's just going to move that ball. Okay, but these handles, they've got a lot of information on them that's not going to help out a ton to just move those individually. So we want to set up a reverse foot, and we want this all controlled by this control. So what we're going to do is I am going to turn the visibility of these off for right now, so I'm not looking at them. And we're going to go back to our joint tool. And we are going to set up an independent joint chain that is going to go backwards. So we're going to create one at the ankle, and then at the toe, and then the ball, and then the ankle. So it goes backwards through basically these pivot points that we have. So I'm just going to come here from the back and kind of look at this. And maybe right about here. I'm just going to, I'm going to hold down my V key. And I can snap it to a point, and maybe I'll move that over to here. Okay, so trying to make it fairly straight in line with these joints here, which actually I could just snap it to that joint and then move it straight back, and that will get me the position that that is at. And then I just want this right on the edge of that heel, right there. Now I'll go back to my joint tool and I'll click that joint again because I'm going to build on top of that joint chain. And now I'm just going to hit V and I'm going to snap to the toe. Ooh, where'd it go? Here. Let me see here. Here we go. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start from scratch here since it's not liking any of that. But I know it's kind of coming to this point. So I'm just going to vert snap it there. And then I'm going to come up here and snap it to my toe joint. And then I'm going to hold V and I'm going to snap it to my ball joint. And then I'm going to come up and hold V again and snap to my ankle joint. Okay, so now you can see I have this totally separate joint chain here, and I can pull it out to the side so you can see it, and that's what it looks like. So it is going ball, or it's going to the heel, and we can see if we rotate, it would rotate the heel, and if we come here, it would rotate from the toe, and if we go here, it would rotate from the ball. So I'm going to move that back, and we just need to rename these. So this is going to be our left underscore, this is a reverse foot, so we're going to call it RF for reverse foot underscore heel. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my next joint, and it's going to be our left RF toe. And then the next joint is our left reverse foot ball. And then our left reverse foot ankle. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I have these IK handles that we've created. And we're going to parent them to the joint in the reverse foot that we want them controlled by, which we name them the same thing. So we're going to grab our IK ankle and control click our reverse foot ankle and hit P to parent it. And then we're going to do the same thing with the ball. We can middle mouse click and drag and just go to the ball and it'll parent it to the ball. And then we're going to go to the toe and we're going to do the same thing and we're going to put it on the toe as well. And now we're going to see some functionality from this when I rotate it. So now I can rotate my heel, and you can see, your heel strikes first when you're walking. So that is going to come down. And then if I go to my toe, then it's going to rotate from the toe, just like I was stepping up. And then I can go down to the ball, and it's going to come up like this. So similar to like when you're walking, the ball of your foot stays planted while you're pivoting before you lift your foot up. So that gives us that. And then the ankle is not going to do anything if we rotate it, but if we move it, it will. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we are going to select our left foot, control, and we're going to parent it to that. Now it gives that whole structure a natural orientation from the ankle, which is what we want. And it will carry all of that with us. So that sets things up really, really nicely. Now what we want to do is we want an easier way to control this than clicking on these joints here, because we're going to hide them. So what we're going to do is we need some more custom attributes. So we're going to select on our left foot control, and we're going to go edit, and we're going to add attribute. These are all going to be float attributes. So they'll function just like our translate and rotate. Okay. We are going to call the first one a foot roll. And that's what's going to be used to like roll our foot as you're walking. We'll hit enter and add. So there it adds that. And then we're going to go and we're going to add a toe stand. So that'll be the control when we want to stand up on the tip of the toe. We will add that. And then we're going to add a toe rotation, which we'll call toe rot. Okay, and we're going to add that. Okay, and that is going to give us a lot of functionality. You can always add more joints, and some people will do this with groups where they create groups that are parented in the same manner. But we don't want to do that. Now, the one functionality we do want to get is we want to be able to have that toe kind of flop or that toe rotation to rotate off of the ball. But our toe is actually located here, and that IK is located right at the toe, which is not necessarily what we want. So we're going to find that toe right there, and that toe IK, and we're going to group it to itself. So we'll hit Control G, and you'll see it's still located at the same spot. And we are going to name this our left toe rot or rotation group. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit insert, and we're going to move that pivot. So by hitting our V key, we're going to move this pivot back to the ball because that's where we want it to rotate from. Okay, and then we'll hit insert again to get back out. Now if we select that group and we go on our rotate Y, now we can rotate that how we want it. That is the functionality that we are wanting to get. So can also add other things like this. If you were like stamping out a cigarette, it would be good for that. We could add other stuff that would rotate it from this side or this side to kind of bank the foot. But for this, we're just going to do these few controls and call it good at that. So a lot of these, the toe stand and the toe rotation, we can set up with just a direct connection. So we're going to select our control, and we're going to go to our connection editor, which is Windows, General Editors, Connection Editor. And there's a syntax error. That's wonderful. General Editors, Connection Editor. There we go. That was weird. Okay, we have that. This is our left leg, and we want these to control these groups here. So our toe stand, we're going to enter in this toe right here. We're going to reload left. Now we see our rotate Y is what is controlling that toe stand. So we're going to find our rotate on this side, and it's going to be grayed out. So look carefully right here, but we can open that up, and we're going to do a direct connection from toe stand to rotate Y. So now if we go to our control and we click that toe stand, we can middle mouse click and drag, and we can see how that is going to function. That gives us a nice toe lift that we can control from here. Now we're going to do the same thing with the rotation, but we want that rotation group that we just created. We'll reload that on the right. And again, it looks like it is the rotate Y. So we'll do rotate Y. Sometimes it's Y, sometimes it's Z. It all depends on the orientation of the joints that we created. And I think maybe in this case, we might have created them with world orientation, which is fine. It's not a huge deal. But you may have created them. Let's see. So yeah, they should be oriented. It's fine. Okay, so now we have our toe stand. Oh, whoops. I didn't want to connect the toe stand. I wanted the toe rotation to the rotate Y of the toe rut group. Okay, that's why it's looking weird. All right, so we just connected that, and then our toe rotation is going to flop the toe up and down independently. So that's great. Now we're going to set up our foot roll, okay? And this, what we want it to do is when it is -10, like this, we're going to want this to be rotated up -10, like that. And then when this is set to +10, we want our heel to be at 0, but then we want our ball to be rotated up 10 degrees there. And that's going to create this rolling function. So reset all of that. That was just to kind of show you the functionality that we're going to be setting up. In order to do that, we need to use set-driven keys. So we are going to select our heel, and then it's going to be easiest in our outliner to just hit Control and select our ball joint. And then we're going to select our, looks like everything's off of the rotate Y. We're going to select that and go to Edit in our channel box and select Set Driven Key. And so those are both selected, and now we need our driver, and this is our driver. So we'll load our driver, and it is going to run off of the foot roll. Now when it's at 0, these are going to be at 0, so we can add a key right now, and that's great. Now we're going to go to our left leg, and we're going to go to our foot roll, and we're going to go -10 and hit enter, and we're going to go just to our heel, and we're going to say 10 or -10. There we go, right there. And we're going to hit key on that. We just want this. We don't want the ball. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the left leg, and we're going to type a +10, and we're going to just select the ball. And on that, we're going to go to the rotate Y, and we're going to type 10, and then we're going to key that. So now we have a little bit of that functionality set up. Perfect. Okay, but we obviously want to do more than just that. So what we're going to do is we're going to select both of those joints, and we're going to open up our graph editor. Okay, and in the graph editor, we're going to see our reverse foot heel, which is here, and we're going to make it a flat tangent so that we get a nice straight line. And when it's 0, it's going to be there. We want to select this, and we want to go backwards with this control because it is going to the -10. So we are going to select this cycle with offset, okay, pre-infinity, so before. So now we can see we have this line, and we don't want anything after it. It needs to stay dead there. And now we're going to go to our ball. We're going to select that curve, and we're going to select the straight tangent there. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go post infinity with an offset. So it's going to cycle. It's going to see the trajectory it's going on, and it's just going to continue on forever that way, no matter what. So we'll do that. You can see it just keeps going up at that same rate. So now if I close that and I go here, I should have my reverse foot all set up. Excellent. That is 100% what we want to happen. Now our control is just about done being set up. What we're going to do with this, so now we have this, and we can rotate it, and it's going to function how we want it, and that is pretty great. The last thing that we're going to do is we want to create an option that will allow our foot to follow the world like it is now. So if I click here and I move my root, you can see it stays planted. Knee bends, but nothing else happens. And that's great. We want that when we're contacting the ground. But there's times when we jump in the air and we want it to follow the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this whole left leg group with everything, and we are going to parent it. So we'll select that group and shift select the pelvis, and we're going to parent it to the pelvis. Now we've automatically will have lost that IK functionality. I mean, it's still there here, but it's not planting to the world. So we're going to go back to our world orient group, and we're going to find that left leg group and control select that, and we're going to create a parent constraint to that. Similar like what we did with the head, but for both. So now we have that functionality back because we created that node, but we need to turn it on and off. So we're going to create another custom attribute. And this is going to be a boolean again, and we're just going to call it world. So, and it's just on or off, and we're going to add it. And again, we're going to take that control, we're going to go Windows, General Editors, Connection Editor, that populates it on the left side, and then we're going to find that constraint node, which should be right under the left leg control group. And we're going to reload that, and we're going to do the same thing all the way at the bottom. We're going to find that new attribute, the world, and then we're going to go all the way to the bottom, and we're going to connect it to the world orient group. Just like that. Now we have a way to turn it on or off, and we can animate that. So right now it's off and functions like that, where it's going to follow the leg. And now it's on, and it's not going to follow the leg. Just like that. That is 100% what we are wanting to happen. So then we can move this wherever we want, and then move that, and it will stay put. And then when we want to turn it off, just hit 0, and now it's back off. And that is excellent. We'll keep it on for right now. And we're done. We have set this up. There is another step that we're going to do for this, but we're all pretty well set with our reverse foot, and we just now have to do it on the other side. So, and I will show you how to do that in the next video.